Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So really quick announcement, if you don't know, right now I am having a holiday sale over at my art shop, so that is 25% off, plus every single order gets a free vinyl sticker. And if you want to see what that sticker looks like, you can watch my last video where I design it. And I do have a link in the description that'll take you over to the shop where you can see things that are on sale. They're actually all on sale, and you don't need a coupon code. It's added automatically at the cart. But moving on, we can talk about this piece today. So this one has a specific purpose, and I might actually end up redoing it for that purpose. And I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of this piece, because I do feel like there are a lot of things I really like and a lot of things that very specifically I struggled with, and they're things that I'd like to get better at and move forward. But specifically what this was is, over at my Kickstarter, I had one of my final stretch goal was a repaint of one of my Inktober's from last year, and then all the orders get a print of it. So I chose day 27 from last year, and it was one of my favorites from the time. But I think the biggest thing that I'm a little bit displeased about this piece is that the original, I actually really like the atmosphere and the look of it overall, and I don't think this one lives up to that. There are a lot better technical things that I did. Anatomy in a certain way is better, but in other ways it's not better. So it's something that you hope that it'll be better completely all over. Everything's better when you do a redraw, but it really wasn't. And I think that I'm at a point where I need to maybe redo it so that I can redeem myself. Now, that said, I don't hate this piece, and I don't think it was a failure, but I do think there were some things that I know I could have done better, and I want to not let myself not take that into account, because the more that I am aware of those things and the more that I'm really pushing myself, the better each piece is going to be. And I know that this one, there were a few things that I definitely would have liked to have made better. So one of the things that I think really contributed to the first piece being something that I really loved and had that really, really good mood that I wanted to have in this piece is actually the colors, or lack thereof. So last year it was a black and white piece with the metallic gold embellishments, and it was just really striking, and I liked how dark and desaturated the rest of the painting was. But in this one, I am doing it in color, and I can absolutely get that mood with the color, but I didn't think about it that way. I think that I kind of forgot about the mood that I had created in the first piece, and I started thinking more independently of that. So I ended up with a color palette that, while I did enjoy working with it, in the end, when I look at the two together, it does not reinforce the mood that I wanted to replicate. I could have done that with a different set of colors and a different way that I had gone about it. So I think that was one of the biggest things that really just holds it back, I think, is that it feels like a sidestep, but not in a good way. It definitely doesn't have the impact that I wanted it to have. And I think that's maybe one of the most frustrating things, is because I absolutely know I could have made it right, but I just wasn't thinking. When I planned out the color palette and I figured it out, I kind of rushed through it, and I wasn't really being as thoughtful and planned out as I would have preferred to be, and it shows in the final product. And I'm trying to be very thoughtful about my choices and each piece that I do, because I am trying very hard to get better and to make myself improve. So it's frustrating when there is actually a point where it's like I have learned that lesson the hard way over and over again, and then I still make that mistake, and it feels a little bit like a step back. But yeah, that I think is the one big thing on this piece, is that it just doesn't replicate the mood that I wanted, and that gives me the deep desire to redo this one, actually, which would be a third redraw. So I'm not sure going forward if I definitely will, or how I'll go about it, but it's always very redeeming to be able to fix a mistake or fix the thing that I feel like is not good enough, because right now I feel a little bit irritated at myself. But if I were to recreate it and really take what I did learn and knock it out of the park and make it exactly what I wanted, I would feel really satisfied. So I think I might need to do that for my own feelings, for being able to move past this. And having said that about the colors being wrong for the mood, I did actually really enjoy using these colors. It is unique to me. It's a different color palette than I normally do. Most of the time I tend to gravitate towards very cool based color palettes. So it was really nice to get into one that had a lot of yellows and reds and these really rich golden colors. So I did actually love working with them and layering them. It was really fun. It just wasn't quite right for the mood, but I also really loved working on the skin. I tried to be a little bit more discerning about the layering and where I was putting the shadows, as well as where I was building up pigment for, say, where there's blush or a little bit extra redness in the skin. So I'm really happy with the skin on this one and the way that I layered it. So I do think that I learned some stuff from that and from the way that I incorporated the colors. So that was a positive. The colors independent were a positive, and the way that I learned some new techniques and some new painting textures, like in the dress, that was something that I really enjoyed, where I built up the texture little by little. So in the end, it doesn't have a really distracting texture, but it has more visual interest than if it was just a flat wash or even a graded wash. Now that I actually ended up, again, building it up from layer. I have this bristly brush that is great for creating these really quick, really beautiful textures. It's actually an oil paintbrush. So you don't have to feel like you have to only get watercolor paint brushes to be able to paint with watercolors. That is one of my all-time favorite watercolor brushes, actually, is this oil painting one. But I use that to get this really grungy texture in. I use it for the background as well when I try to create almost a vignette effect, I guess. But it is really, really helpful for very quickly blending in one color to the next and being able to incorporate them. But I did that and I let it dry, and then I end up layering a few more washes over it to unify the colors. And then I went in with a small brush and did a bunch of little flecks, almost like sequins on her dress, that added more detail and interest. And I love adding little things like that because it does add a lot of information to the eye, even if it's not obvious or you don't go to it immediately. It does actually add quite a bit to the piece. And I do have another thing that I learned, a negative. I do want to preface this with these positives and these negatives that I like to list in my videos. It's 100% for me to be able to get better and to improve. So even the negatives, I look at it as a very positive thing, and it's surprising how much of a difference just having a different attitude on how you look at things like that can make. I know that I've done that personally, where in the past I look at mistakes very negatively and I'm very upset by them. But I've been really working the last few years to turn those into positives and to see how I can improve myself based on those. So when I do happen to have a video where there are a lot of negatives that I'm pointing out, it's entirely because it's kind of exciting to be able to list those out and think, okay, this is exactly what I get to work on next and exactly where I know that I can do better at. And it's kind of nice to be able to be like, yes, I definitely can do better. I know I can. I have done in the past. And this is just a testament to the fact that it's something that I have to pay attention to, and I can't let myself slip and be lazy. I have to remember to stay on top of the skills that I have learned. So the last actual point that I wish that I had done better, and this is something that I absolutely should know by now, and I actually think I'm much better at this than I used to be, and that's listening to my internal critic when I'm moving past the sketch phase. So there are many times where I would look at my sketch and I'm ready to move on to the final, and I think, oh, that's just not quite right. It's not there. And in the past, I would oftentimes brush that aside and finish it anyways with these errors or things that could absolutely have been better and made me more excited about the piece, made the piece a lot better. But I moved on with it being not as good as it could be. And I've been really trying to be very, very aware of that when I'm making these choices so that I can actually fix those things in the sketch phase and make my pieces that much better. And for the most part, I think I'm a lot better at that than I used to be at listening to that and taking the time to actually make that happen. But this piece, I had a little bit of a slip up. So the head position in the original is more of a 3/4 view, and I much prefer that over the profile in this one. So profiles can be pretty static, and this is definitely no exception to that. It's just a little bit too stiff, and it doesn't quite fit as well with the body position as well. I mean, it's physically possible, but I think that the 3/4 angle of the face would have definitely been preferable. And I knew it when I was moving from the sketch to transferring it onto my watercolor papers. I knew that I should go back and change it. And I thought, nope, I'm just going to go with it with what it is. And I ended up regretting it. So I guess every once in a while I have to take a little misstep and remember that actually is important, that these lessons that I have learned are valuable and I need to pay attention to them still. And that is it for today. I actually do really like this piece. I like it for what it is, but not necessarily what it should have been, but I do like it, and I definitely like that it was a good learning experience for me. I do have the original of this available, and there is a link in the description, as always, that'll take you to my art shop. And again, there is that 25% off sale that lasts until next Wednesday, and all orders come with a free vinyl sticker. And that's it for today. So I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be next Wednesday. So thanks for watching.